Hello, and welcome to the Fireside Chat with some of HiDef's founders. I'm Geneva Heyward, and today we have Rick Fox and Anthony Castoro. And I guess my first question for you both is just tell us about HiDef's mission and goals, and why do y'all start this game with like all of the amazing experiences that y'all both have already?
I don't know, Rick, why did we start this thing?
Because sometimes you have to be the change you want to see.
That's right.
That's exactly why we're together.
Yeah, so there are actually four founders, so you got half the crew here, and the three of us had known each other for a while, and the fourth one came along early in, and we all have different backgrounds, but some similarities. And as we got to know each other professionally, always wanted to find a way to work together. Eventually, one of us came up with a reason to do it. And we were all motivated by it. It gave us the opportunity to create HiDef and come together to build a company the way we thought companies should be built, and to represent for lots of people what it can be like to be successful, both as entrepreneurs and game developers, and to make sure that the things that we do have the right kind of impact on the world around us.
Cool. So I guess how important is social impact to the culture of your studio?
Well, if you look at the titles of the four founders, you'll see that one of them is our Chief Impact Officer, and that's not something you often see, as a founding team. It's not something you see very often, in the game space. And it's on purpose, right? We take that very seriously, and we take a very broad view on the issues of what we call impact, right? So everything from how we interact with our partners, to our employees, to the community that we're trying to address. We want to be very thoughtful about what impact we have on the world, because every company has an impact, right? It's just, how thoughtful are you about it, and why are you doing what you're doing, and have you thought about the consequences of your decisions?
Right. It's funny, I had that as a follow-up question to ask about the Chief Impact Officer. Yeah. But also, I guess, what is the role of a Chief Impact Officer? Like, what will that will that affect your company?
Well, I will share that just for me personally, along with meeting Dr. David Washington. Immediately, as Anthony just shared, Jace, myself, and Anthony, we had a vision for a company that would have not only the impact on society through the games we make, but that we would be purposely driven with that direction of knowing that the impact would be in the lives of individuals like yourself, the next generation coming behind us. Anthony and Jace have had long-standing histories in game development, so it was important that we put a foundational piece into our equation that spoke to impacting the way that we believe needs to be represented in the industry.
All right.
Yeah, well, can I add to that?
Yeah, of course.
So I think so as a C-level executive, right, and co-founder, our Chief Impact Officer, Dr. David Washington, has a role and responsibility to be thinking about how we can engage with all of our different communities, and if we're doing it in a way, right, that creates opportunities for people and has the right positive impact. So, over the past couple of decades, there's been a shift in the way companies have been thinking about governance, and gone from a sort of shareholder primacy thing to a stakeholders approach, where it's like you need to think about who your customers are, who your vendors are, who your partners are, the communities that you work in, and we want to make sure that we have the correct and the right impact on those people. So it really is about making sure that as a company and as a culture from the very top, it's a conversation we're always having about what we're building. And it's pretty natural, but I had always known that the next company I started, I wanted to think about governance in that way and try to build something from the ground up. But it wasn't until Rick introduced me and Jason to Dr. David Washington, I realized, oh, I'm looking for you, right? So we had a great first meeting, and it was pretty quick after talking for a while that he was the right person to bring into that role because of his background in philanthropy, in politics, and in positive action. And he was already doing things in the game space, right? So it was a really, really natural fit.
Right. So I guess my next question for the both of you is, what got y'all excited about making the studio? Was it a love for games? Was it like, well, I know you've previously already talked about, making what you want to see in the world. Like, what specifically got y'all hyped for this?
Rick, you want to go first?
Well, I'd start with not only wanting to work with the three gentlemen that we're paired together working now with, but the idea was pretty exciting in its own right. Not only the idea of creating a specific game as a launching point, but also the idea of creating a company, as we just shared, that was going to lead in ways that we felt needed to be represented in the space. So for me, I had been involved in the esports gaming space, and I'm a lifetime gamer. I've gamed since I cut my teeth on an Atari 2600 as a kid in the Bahamas. So shout out to all my game developers in the islands of the Bahamas and the islands in general. But for me, games were part of my life. I introduced them to my son, who is now a game developer. And for me, it was important that I saw more representation in the space by being an example. And I think we've been an example. Anthony and Jace and D-Wash have been examples for a lot of young men and women in the space, and we'll continue to do that as a company.
Yeah, I mean, for me, so the game industry has been great to me. It's been, as a career, it's been fantastic. I don't think a lot of people even now still understand that there's a real profession there, that there's a whole gigantic industry of professionals and careers there. And I think it's important for us to be able to, demonstrate that and show that to the world. But also, I've encountered a lot of challenges working in the game industry. I think my last regular job, my boss told me that my coaching, empowering, and sort of style of leadership was inappropriate, right? So a big part of what motivates me is working with people that I'm aligned with on how you should treat other people and how you should think about what you're building, not just why you're building it and how you're going to be successful commercially, but also who you're building it with and who you're building it for really matters. And so as I got to know Jason and Rick over the prior few years, I realized that those are guys that I want to work with. And then, Dr. David Washington fit right into that. And as we build the company, right, we're trying to make sure that we're building an organization of people who share a lot of the same values, and then we can bring that to the rest of the world. So for me, what I was excited about was, I've worked with Jason and Rick in different ways, and we've all been through some difficulty, and I saw how they handled those things and how they affected them. And, I want to work with people of integrity. And so as much as, the game idea was exciting to me that we were going to work on first, it was the opportunity to work with those people and know that we were going to build a company full of people like that, who are going to be people you want to get up and work with every day. And that's just as important. I think as people have gone through COVID over the last year, sort of realize, have a reset about what's important. I think, it would have been much harder to get through that time period if I wasn't working with this group of people.
Right. So, can you tell us a bit about HiDef's first game, actually? We've heard about a metaverse game as a service, which I think is pretty cool, but can you break that down for us?
Anthony?
So unfortunately, no, we're not yet talking about the game. And of
well,
course,
we want to.
But and it's been, hey, we're coming up on 2 years on working on this project, and there's so much that we have not talked about yet that we're going to, and it's going to be really, I think it's going to be really exciting for a lot of folks. It's probably not what people think that Rick Fox, Jace Hall, Anthony Castoro would make, which is part of what's exciting about it. But I can say that online games as a service, and metaverse games have been part of my career the whole time. I got into games because of online. I met my wife now 21 years back in 1993 on Internet Relay Chat on IRC back in the day. And I've always really sort of been amazed by the power that online experiences have to connect people who may never have been connected before, to understand each other. It has downsides, it has huge upsides. And so I could tell you that whatever product we're building on, it's going to be focused on how people connect with each other, express themselves, and have the opportunity to sort of share their point of view with other people in a gaming environment, which to me is really exciting, because you see all kinds of strange contexts coming out of online games now, right? You'll see a shooter game that's having concerts in it, right? It's like those, go back 5 years ago and think about that, and people be like, how would that make sense, right? But there's a certain joy and aspect to the culture of gaming that's now global, that lets people share those experiences. And so while we're not quite ready to talk about what it is, I can tell you that we're going to be focused on those kinds of things, right? The things that connect people and share with each other, and let people influence each other's culture in positive ways.
Cool. I think that's especially important right now, since we're still a little bit in COVID times for sure. And that, like, I feel like, a lot of games currently right now have been super helpful, like Among Us and Minecraft and all those other things.
Yeah.
So I guess a fun and sort of hard question for both of you is, what's your favorite video game?
It's not a hard question for me. Yeah, I know what you're playing. I'll tell you what I'm playing right now. I'm playing a lot of DayZ, which is, and Anthony can attest to this. It's our 12 o'clock daily stand-up is met with some stories from the night before usually. If you happen to see a sea chest somewhere out there, Jace Hall's looking for it. But that's my game. That's what I've been playing lately.
Picking a favorite one's really tough. I play a lot of different kind of games. So this weekend, one of the great things about the age we live in now is there's so many games, you can't even keep up with it, right? So, I discovered Noida not too long ago, and started playing Outer Wilds this weekend, which is a fantastic sort of, story game with its own universe and its own mechanic, but it's a space game, and I love space games. One of the reasons I got in the industry were games like X-Wing and TIE Fighter and others like Wing Commander at Origin, where I started my career at Origin. But I also love RPGs, and so it's kind of like trying to pick your favorite kid. Like, my favorite thing is to go on to a game service, find a game I've never heard of that a small community is excited about, and check out what's going on, because so much effort goes into making games. Like, a lot of people don't understand. I'm sure you do, but a lot of people don't understand, right? Like, making a game is a team sport. Like, the number of games that are made by one person that have, the ability to like be a full game and other people enjoy is so low. And even then, you look at the credits and it's going to scroll for a couple minutes, even though one person made it, right? Like, there's so much that goes into it, that I enjoy playing games just to sort of experience what those people wanted to say. Or to get on and save Rick when his house is being raided.
Yeah. I like games where, like to Anthony said, where it's team related. So you find me a team where I can jump on, I'm in.
If I had to pick all time, it would probably be Tribes, Star Siege Tribes, which I think I bought 6 copies of because I played it for so long and I watched so many people just download it and not pay for it. I felt bad for the developer, but it was one of those, team sport. It was almost like soccer to me. Like, you 2 teams and you had positions and roles, and I probably lost 1.5 years of my life to that game.
All right.
What are you playing?
Oh, me? Oh gosh. So currently I've been playing, what have I been playing? I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles, the definitive edition, because my little sibling was like, you need to play it. I have 70 hours in it. It's so good. I'm enjoying it so far, but yeah.
Nice.
So switching gears a little bit, but like starting a game studio sounds really cool and amazing. And I guess I wanted to ask, like, what were some of the biggest challenges y'all experienced when getting the studio off the ground?
COVID.
So we have a theme right now, which is Jace and I, who have been in game development for a couple of decades, or I guess I'm coming up on 3. And we keep telling Rick, it's not like this. It's not normal. This is not how it usually goes down. And I'm extremely appreciative of the experience we've had because it has been challenging. But we have a lot of people who've been through the ringer a few times. I've had a couple of startups. I didn't do this lightly, right? Like it's hard. And there's some amazing stress streams that happen sometimes because so many people are counting on you. But for us, having the right idea was important, and the thing that really got us going when we're and I can't wait to start talking about what it actually is. But the key to this story for us was, Jace calls me up and he says he's got the greatest idea in the history of video games or whatever. Like, he's got this great idea. He's so excited about it, right? And he tells it to me, and it sounds really good. As a game designer, someone who's been doing this for a long time, I could say, okay. But you know what? There are a lot of good ideas. There's so many good ideas. The chances of your good idea being something that can be a business that you can be successful on and have employees and all the things that you want when you start a company, it's hard. The chances are low. And so my reaction was, let's prototype it and let's find the fun. And if we can find the fun, then we should do it, because the proof is in the pudding. Like, you need to be able to hand this to someone else and they go, oh, wow. Right. And if you can't get that, then you don't. And it's amazing how many games I've worked on where the team is 2 years into the project and still doesn't know if it's fun, and it's scary. So for us, we had something from day one. Like, it took us 2 days prototyping in Unity to find that fun and be able to hand it to other people and them go, oh. So when you have that as a game idea, as a game concept, that's something you can really build on. And then if you have a team and you can recruit a team that has done a lot of those things before, that makes it a lot easier to continue on. So we've been at it for almost 2 years now, and we've raised some capital, and we're getting ready to start talking about the product in the next couple of months. I think the biggest challenge for us has just been making sure we're doing everything that we can to give this an opportunity to be successful, and hiring the right people. As an entrepreneur, sometimes you hire some people and they don't work out. That's always tough, but you got to make that call sooner than later. It all pays off in the end if you do it right. You find that success. So we're still on that journey. But yeah, so for me, the hardest thing has just been trying to make sure that I'm doing everything I can and not letting my teammates down. And that keeps me motivated every day. That was a long, wandering answer, but
no, it was great though. I would just throw on there, I would add to it, just challenges as a startup are all, it's business, right? So all of the things that Anthony just listed require you to stay kind of even keel through the highs and the lows. And in this case, Anthony and Jace remind me all the time, this is not how it goes, because we've had a lot of highs on this journey, and some lows. And the lows for me have not been difficult, really, because of the group of people that are doing this together. Our company's grown, our team has grown, and the people that will share with the public eventually that are a part of our journey here are the best of the best, and we're blessed to have them. They make all of our jobs easier, but it's a credit to Jace's idea, Anthony's leadership and execution. And in that, 2 years goes by pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so we're looking forward to continuing to build out and deliver a product that we believe the the community will enjoy, will embrace, and it'll help them connect, monetize, all the things that are important to gamers today will be there for them to sink their teeth into.
All right. Well, a bit of a follow-up, but what are some challenges you anticipate on the journey ahead? And is there any way that folks out there watching in the G4C community at large can help just support y'all?
Can I just jump in here, Anthony, real quick?
No, go ahead, man.
As the business development, I'm always constantly in search, along with the team here, for the right strategic partners, the right investors that can continue to grow with us, and to be along that journey with us, and bring not only the resources that are needed as we go towards the launch stages of a game like this, but just making sure that we have the right advisors. We have an amazing group of advisors right now that have added great value, but to continue to grow that would be the needs that I'm constantly speaking to.
Yeah, there's always, game development isn't cheap. Like I said, it was a team sport, right? So you've got a lot of people that you need to and resources that go into it, and all the technology and all that stuff. But for us, I think the biggest challenge, and the thing that the community can help us with, is that as we start to talk about this product, and we start to bring it to market and give it to people for their feedback, is to be honest with us, right? And we're going to engage with the community. The product that we're building is going to be a live service, and the communities are essential to that, right? So as we start to talk about what that project is, I think that's going to be huge. And then as we look to grow the company, right? So we've been virtual from the beginning. So the plan was to be virtual for as long as possible. So COVID came along and sort of stole our thunder on that one, because people are like, oh, working from home is great. I'm like, yeah, we know. and it was going to be a sort of one of our actual advantages in terms of recruiting, because we could recruit from anywhere. But as we build the company, right, and we create opportunities for new creators to come in and add their voice to what we're building, that's going to be another challenge for us, because the project that we're taking on, I think, has a huge sort of cross appeal, cross culture. It's not geocentric, it's not national centric in any way. So it'll be interesting to see how we can bring in other people's viewpoints to the creation process, and so just keep us honest.
Yeah. All right. So I'm a bit of a baby game dev. Like, I'm working at Globe Games. That is not my studio, but I definitely have been thinking about wanting to start a studio someday. And I wanted to ask, what is some advice you would give to aspiring game designers like me looking to start their own studio someday?
Well, I think I did it and it worked out okay, and I had no idea what I was doing. I just, a couple of college friends and I said, we're going to start making video games in the early 90s. So I think, there are a couple of things. One, don't do it for the money. And I mean that you're not going to find success, right, if you're trying to chase the dollars with a game, right? It's about what you're passionate about, what story you want to tell, and stay true to that vision. A lot of people get easily swayed because of the risks, because of the challenges, but the best ideas come from people who are really passionate about what it is they're trying to say or try to create, what experience they want to create. And you should try to stay true to that vision. The other thing I would say is start small. The most common thing I see with people trying to make games, especially the first ones or the first commercial ones or indie ones, is trying to do too much. Games can have an incredible scope very rapidly, and it can make it very challenging to get to the finish line. And so really being focused on what it is you want to do and building that expertise. And the last thing I would say is look at all of the different opportunities there are to help young entrepreneurs who are trying to come to the space. So there are so many programs out there now. All the different major, game engine companies, the publishers, there are all kinds of programs to help you with that scope, whether it's with technology, funding, or even developer access. There's, this is an amazing time to be getting into this space. So if you're focused on what you want to accomplish and you know why you want to build it, and you can be passionate about that, other people are there to help you, and they'll be inspired by that passion. I would highly recommend people take advantage of that. And it's there's an amazing community out there internationally, and everyone's looking, for the next great game and how to bring it to market.
Find your mentor. Find your mentor. Don't go alone. You go further together.
Yeah,
for sure. And I gotta jump on top of this. Start small. I have my son's journey was a small Atari 2600 game. His first one called Duel, and then he made a second one. And he did not go to school for game development like yourself. He just started making games under the advice of Anthony and Jace, and now he's worked his way up. So don't be afraid to be a beginner. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Sometimes you're going to turn the ball over. All of those mistakes will lead you to a place that you'll have the confidence to make bold choices and the work ethic to execute on them. So just begin.
Yeah, I mean, my big piece of advice used to be make games, and it seemed obvious, but we get so many people who had like written an idea down, right, for a game design or whatever. It's like, no, go find your favorite game that probably has mod tools and go start modding. Download Unity or Unreal or whatever, and just start making stuff. It'll be bad. Do it anyway, right? But you're never going to get into making games unless you. So there's that part of it, which clearly you've got, and I will say, an amazing new crop of game developers coming out of all of these game programs. So we're doing some internships, and all the people that we're bringing on to the internships are more qualified, than just about any new person I've hired over the last 20 years, which is fantastic. So when you ask the question about starting a studio, that's a business, right? That's a business activity. It's not just a project activity. And so someone, in your crew needs to be excited about the business part, because the work that goes into keeping the development team fed, the software paid for, all the things that you need to be able to do that is important. And so do you think about your different character classes for making your game, right? You need someone who wants to be the business person, and hopefully put some extra points in those skill sets, right? It's important. It really is.
Right. All right. So we are running out of time, but thank you so much for being here with us today. We're going to head to the Imagine Q&A room. There will be a link in the chat so that you can go and ask Anthony and Rick more questions. But all right, we'll see y'all on the website.
Thanks, Geneva.
Thank you.